Alright, cool. So this video is called Detaching from Manifestation. I'm going to explain it, what manifestation is from an internal aspect and how you can understand it and be consciously aware of you manifesting rather than unconsciously. Okay, so manifestation is shifting internally without being emotionally dependent on seeing your reality change. So that means essentially you shifting to a new version of yourself, but from an internal aspect. So that would mean having a new self-worth, a new self-concept, a new set of beliefs, a new way of doing things from an internal aspect of yourself. So a new self-worth of yourself, a new set of beliefs of yourself. If you had limited beliefs before, it's not limited beliefs. So it's essentially a new version of yourself, but from an internal aspect. So you're now operating from that version of yourself consciously, rather than looking at it as something you're looking at. So if you're looking at it, then you're signaling you don't have it, you're looking at it, so it's separated from you. Whereas when you shift to an internal aspect, rather than looking at it, you can just become that version consciously there and then. And you do this through writing down your manifestation or the manifested version of yourself, emotionally, intensely experiencing it. So when you're reading it, read it as if it's already done and assume it's already taken place. And again, a state of meditation where you can get into a state of relaxation, then have a visualization or a memory of someone congratulating you, a significant other or someone significant in your life, let's say at that moment in time, or just significant to your life, celebrating you, or let's say high-fiving you, or hugging you, or congratulating you for it. So because you then have this memory and you emotionally intensely feel it, you then keep looping the memory, and through looping the memory, you're consciously emotionally experiencing it. So when you first experience it, you experience it very intensely, which is the language of the subconscious part of your mind, emotions. So by you emotionally intensely experiencing it, the subconscious has now clinged onto a positive, intense experience. The more intense it is, the more the subconscious can essentially keep experiencing it, because it remembers that more. Okay, so because it now does that, you then have emotionally intensely felt it. So now the more you're looping it, the less excitement you have. But this is key to it, because now you're used to it as you're looping the memory, over time you're becoming used to it, because you're not going to be as excited about something the first time it happens as you are, let's say, the 10th time it happens. So because you're self-validating yourself by emotionally intensely experiencing this, and then now acting consciously as that version of yourself, which you've written down as a new self-concept, a new set of beliefs, a new version of yourself. Because you're now operating from that version of yourself, there's a new cause. So you've changed the new version of yourself, essentially. So you've changed, if you want to think of it like tuning, you've tuned yourself to the right, radio station for that reality to take place, essentially. So because you've tuned yourself to the right frequency or the right awareness or the right version of yourself, you've written it down, you've emotionally intensely felt it and seen it, visualized it, you then assume this has taken place, and as within, as well. So because there's no importance to it, because you emotionally intensely felt it and now know that this version of you experiences this, you now self-validate yourself and internally operate from yourself as the version of you that's already been congratulated and because you've already experienced this as within, as without, so it therefore has to take place in reality, and reality has to catch up to you, because internally you're already that version of yourself before the world proves it to you. And because you're operating from this version of yourself, manifestation takes place regardless, because you're already acting as if it's happened. Now, detaching from it, so actually signaling no importance to it, knowing it's already taken place and you're already operating from this version of yourself. If you know you're now operating from that version of yourself, you already know it's taken place. So you wouldn't need to reassure yourself, or you wouldn't need to tell yourself that it's happening or it's going to keep taking place, because you already know it has taken place. So what will then happen is the actions you're then doing without realizing are like the events leading up to it. But because you're already self-validated and you already internally know you're operating from this version of yourself, when the stuff then does happen in reality, by the time it's happening to you in reality, because you've already validated yourself so much, you won't even realize it's taking place, because it's like in your head, because you was already that version of yourself, it's expected. Whereas the old version of you would think they would want to be that version of you. You just switch to that version of you internally already. So then from when you've done that, it's then taken place. From switching internally to that version of yourself that you visualize and emotionally intensely experience in the memory, by switching to that version of yourself internally and shifting to that, it's essentially already taken place. You just have to have the confidence and reassurance of yourself to know that you don't need validation externally or from reality. So reality cannot validate you. It's shifting internally and not being emotionally dependent externally. So if you shift internally, you already self-validate yourself now to the version of you where this achievement or celebration has taken place. So because you're that version of you, you know this has taken place. So you don't need to then look for external clues to signal that you're going further. But that's what reality tries to do. So reality tries to trick you into thinking you need to look at signs and signals, when in operating from an internal aspect, because you've already self-validated yourself, essentially now that has already taken place in your head. So because it's already taken place, now reality has to catch up to that version of you, rather than someone trying to change the effect but not changing the cause. So operating from the old version of themselves, but thinking doing work or doing hard work will take them further, which is not the case. Once they shift to that version of themselves internally, the stuff aligns to it. You don't have to know how it will happen, but because you assumed it has already taken place and you operate from the version of yourself where it's already taken place, it then just happens because you're detached from it. So because you're detached from your certainty, and you're confident about it, that you're now that version of yourself, you don't need reassurance from reality, you don't need external validation. You already know internally, because you've internally validated yourself, that you're operating from that version of yourself. Essentially, because you're detached from the manifestation as within, as without, you're signaling that you don't need it because you're detached from it, which is also a very good thing, because you shouldn't need anything. Nothing should be above you. You should be in control of it or above it. So detaching from it increases the certainty to make it even quicker, because you're detached from it. So you're signaling you don't need it. Whereas someone trying to constantly attract it or in need of it can create a repel effect, because they're signaling they need it. So because they're signaling they need it, it's like causing friction to a frequency, because needing it is like signaling it needs to come through. And when you're in need of something, you're signaling you don't have it. So because you're signaling you don't have it, it's essentially repelling the frequency, even though the person is in need of it. Whereas when they're in need of it, but are good with it or without it, they're essentially signaling that they have that, but even if they don't, they're alright. So it will come to them regardless. And it's detaching from your manifestation internally that makes it take place quicker, or way quicker than you would think. So yeah, that is detaching from manifestation, or from your manifestation.